So much has been going on in life, I don't even know how to... There is so much to talk about and I do not know where to start. Where do you simply begin? You know, when you're going through this part of like healing, self-development, self-improvement, it has so much to do with healing. I think that's the part where that's the part we ignore the most. Healing has everything to do with self-improvement. Healing has everything to do with your development and your growth as a person. And even me personally, I'm guilty of doing that. I have ignored my own healing, my traumas, my childhood traumas. I have ignored them for as long as I could, maybe intentionally, maybe on purpose, because you know it's painful if you face it. It's painful when the trauma comes on the surface, and so you try to avoid that. I mean, we all do that. Don't you also do that? I mean, don't you hear yourself when every time you have a problem and you think about it, you always tell yourself, okay, no, you know what? Let me just go out, meet my friends, let's go for dinner. I'm not going to think about it. Or you say, oh, do you know what? Let me just call my best friend up and let's just bitch about other things of life. Let's just talk about boys or girls, about life, and let's nag about parents or your husbands or whatever. But let's not really focus on the problem. Let's not have a solution to the problem, but let's just talk about like random stuff which is going to distract you from ever bringing up a solution for that very problem. We all do that. I have done that for so long, and I feel sad saying this because I love my channel, I love my content generally to be very like helpful for anybody who watches that, right? And when I think about how much I have avoided my own healing for such a long time, and you know what, it's so funny because being an Asian brown person, I think we think about healing as something, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you like mentally not okay? Are you like, are you like psycho or something? But I think when it comes to like the brown community, we are very much inclined to, you know, say that if you talk about therapies or healing, that means that you are not okay right here. Oopsie. And then people feel like they want to avoid you, or they feel like they want to give you the lectures about how you need a psychiatrist and stuff. I mean, I see this happening in front of me all the time, even with other people, and I think maybe that is also the reason why I never wanted to address my own concerns and my own problems, because I was so scared about how others are going to perceive that and how they are going to treat me as a result of that. And so I was just quiet for the longest of time. We all have traumas, we all have childhood traumas, we all need healing. It's a natural part of your growth. And I think the reason I'm doing this video is because I need you to understand healing has everything to do with you growing as a person, moving forward in life, taking the next steps. You need healing every time you make a new decision that you know is going to change your life. That's for sure. You need healing every time you think about, okay, you know what, I want to change my career path. You will need healing before that, because if you don't, then you will always come from a place of misery and disaster when you make that new decision. And then once you made that decision coming from such a negative place like that, then oftentimes that decision will not result in very good results either. You know, you will stay in miserable situations most of the time. As they say, misery loves company. So if you are making decisions based off of or your own misery or based off of somebody else's misery, let's say your family or your close people, well, those results will never show up in a positive way. And so every time you take a new decision, you make a new decision, you need to be healing first. And especially for girls, you know, I talk so much about this because I think it helps my sisters out there so much. No matter what culture or religion or caste or color you are, when it comes to making decisions about your life, as in what partner to choose, you know, whether you want to be in a relationship or not, whether you want to get married or not, you know, these kinds of decisions, please make sure you get your healing sorted first and then you make those decisions. I don't think it's healthy to depend on another human being coming in your life and then them doing the healing for you, because then they are the ones that suffer a lot. Meanwhile, you are doing your healing through that person very selfishly, you know, and that kind of selfishness I don't think is good, but a lot of us actually do that. I think in so many of your relationships or even your friendships, if you think about it, sometimes you actually thrive on somebody else's misery. You kind of do. even if it is your partner sometimes, I'm sure if you look deep inside of you, you will understand that oftentimes you have thrived on somebody else's, like who was close to you, on their negativity, or like on their baggage that they've had in their life, you know, because every time they talked about it or they made you feel anything about it, you always felt, oh, okay, I'm listening, but I'm kind of glad I didn't have this. Oh my God, you're so insecure, I wonder where that's coming from. I'm so glad I don't have this, you know. And no matter how much of a good partner you may be, you could be a really good friend also, but somehow we all know that tends to happen, right? People tell us their stories, people, you know, their stuff comes in front of us, and you know, we see that, we listen to them, because of course deep down every one of us wants to be nice, you know. It's just somehow engraved within us. We want to help everyone, we want to be nice. So when somebody is talking, we want to listen to what the problems are, yes. But do we ever really come from a place of sincerity? No, because it's a little selfish to also want to listen to someone in the first place, because you're just trying to be nice. And I see that as selfishness also. It's not, I mean, as they say, all selfless acts require selfishness. I mean, something along those lines. I'm sure it's not exactly how I just said it, but you get the point. And that's very true. And when they tell you their things, their problems, their childhood problems, or this problem or that problem that has caused them some mental turbulence or emotional turbulence, you oftentimes will listen because you want to be nice, but you probably obviously will not have a solution. Because obviously you're not a therapist, I'm not blaming anyone. We can't blame ourselves for that. You won't have a solution. But you will also at the same time come to a place where you start comparing yourself to that person, and then you're like, wow, I'm so glad I don't have that problem, you know. Or let me try to understand their problem as much as I can with my level of understanding and perceptions, and maybe let me just give them some sort of advice, which probably again might not help them either, but it's helping you a lot right now, because from your perspective, you're helping that person. You're being nice, you're being kind, and you're also realizing that person is having maybe low self-esteem problems, or maybe a lot of insecurity and stuff like that, and you're thriving on that because you don't have that. Oh my God, you're so perfect, you're so fine. As much as all of us want to be really nice people, we also do things from a very selfish place. No matter how selfless they look on the surface, they're usually coming from a very selfish place. It's every time you're trying to be over-sufficient, self-sufficient, impressive, or a good listener, a good communicator, you are doing all of this because you want to be liked. And some of you guys do it a little over the top. Maybe you think somebody's going to come and give you an Oscar or something. And maybe I have felt like that too in the past, but nobody's coming to give you an award. Nobody's coming to give you any kind of reward for that. Yes, being great is a good thing. I think God always does reward you with that, you know, like, let's make that clear. I'm not saying you should be a miserable person, obviously not. All I'm saying is that whatever we do come from a selfish place, more often than we would like to accept or think about. And coming back to the subject for today's video, when it comes to healing, you need healing at every stage of your life, at every step of your life, whether you're getting into some education that you haven't done before, whether you're getting into a relationship that you never had before, whether you're trying to fix a relationship with one of your close people, could be your sibling, could be one of your parents, could be one of your cousins or friends, whether you're trying to fix a relationship, even if you're trying to break a relationship, or if you have already broken a relationship, or if you're trying to get into a new relationship or a marriage, anything, you're trying to have children, babies, every single step of your life will need healing, because chances are the previous step, before that new step, it did leave some sort of mark on you. It left you with some sort of trauma that may not be on the surface where it is affecting you too much, no, but it's deep somewhere inside where it subconsciously tries to affect your decisions that are yet to come, your choices that are yet to be made, and your behaviors that you're going to act upon, you know. So it leaves that mark somewhere at the back of your mind, and unconsciously you start behaving a certain way or making certain kind of decisions, which are a little unusual probably, but they're all coming from a place of where the trauma land, the little place inside at the back of your mind where you know, where you function from, you know. Sometimes you may not know consciously about why you're making this decision that you are right now, unconsciously at the back of your mind, the trauma land, I would call it, the trauma land knows why you're functioning that way and where this decision is coming from, you know. So I think it's so important for us to understand healing is, I don't know how many times I have used this word in this video, but this video is about healing. Healing is very important, and I think a lot of times people don't know how to start their journey of healing because probably your trauma is not yet come on the surface. Probably you're not having anxiety about certain things and you don't know what's going on with you. Probably you are depressed and you really don't know what's going on, and the only solution you see is, oh, let me get back to my prayers and I'll be okay. But having said that, we all pray, is a good thing to pray, but I think that's a totally different subject. But when it comes to human development and your growth and your improvement as a person, you don't just need prayers. There's other things that you have to keep in mind also. And healing, therapy, coaches, having mentors on your side, or having like a positive environment around you where you live, having positive atmosphere where you live, you know, that is so important for your growth so that you can push to the next level, but from a healthy place, you know. Trauma land, it can be improved. You know, you can turn that trauma land from hell into a garden of fresh roses and trees and flowers. You can, but it will take a lot of healing. It will take time. How do you do healing? It's not just with prayers. That's a part of it, of course. Meditation, yoga, prayers, regular prayers, having strong faith is, I think, an integral part of every human being anyway. I don't even have to tell you that. That's like the basics. You know, you have to get the basics always out of the way first, and then we move forward. Then we talk about healing, you know. Now let's talk about that, because that's the bigger thing to do. That's going to be a little harder. Praying, I'm not going to lie, prayer part, you know, meditation, yoga, this, that, that's the easy part. That's the basics. That's the given part, you know. Got that done out of the window already. Like, that's basics. Move forward. You need to do healing. How do you do that? As I said, you always need a very positive atmosphere that you have to create by yourself, because if you don't have that, that's a disaster. It's never going to help you get to that next level from a positive place. If you have a family that's, you know, that's providing a very dysfunctional dynamics within the house, that's a problem, you know, because how will you ever take the next step in life from a positive place? How will you ever get good results? Because you're living in such misery. You know, if there is hostile situations where you're living in, how far will that get you? There will be a lot of struggle, you know. We've all seen people that come from very, very, very difficult backgrounds, very hostile situations in their house, very dysfunctional families, very dysfunctional dynamics within their own people, and they become so used to that dysfunctionality that abnormal things become their norm, you know. And when abnormal things become your norm, there's only this far you can get, you know. And then at one point you just want to break out of all of that, and then you just leave the house. A lot of people, when they leave, they just leave, you know, they just bye-bye. Why does that happen? Oftentimes it's not about someone being rebellious or bad, or they just want to party and be free. No, a lot of times it's because they need that space of peace and ease, which they don't have in their current situation where they are. And they want that. They're thriving so hard for that. They want that so bad that they're trying to find it outside somewhere, in the hopes that they will find it somewhere, and probably they will. But a lot of times this is usually the reason why people drift away from, you know, their current situations. They, you know, they reach that point where something very life-changing happens to them, and all of a sudden, you know, they realize that I have zero tolerance left, I have zero patience left, and now I just need to get out. You know, and that's a breaking point of their life. And then you have to break up with everybody around you, which that could also be unhealthy, because then that means you're living in isolation. But here's the thing, you could still avoid that if you think you're going through a very difficult time with people around you, with friends around you, with your close family around you, or anything like that, where there's a lot of turbulence and it's causing you a lot of like mental stress and emotional traumas and stuff, you know. Then keep in mind it's going to be very hard for you to live up to that, because with time you would want things to improve. If you are a normal, healthy person, chances are you will want things to improve. You will want to go towards betterment. You would want to, you know, go towards things that life has to offer, which are quality things, not misery, not struggle, not trauma, you know, not dysfunctionality, not toxicity. You want healthy, you want peace, you want ease. That's what every single person is actually thriving to have in their life. It may sound different on the surface because some people say, you know, my dream is like, I really want to move to that country, or I want to party more, or I want to travel more, or you know, I want to buy lots of properties, or I want to earn a lot of money. But if you look at the bigger picture, what's the end goal? Looking for peace. Maybe I'll find peace in that. Maybe I'll find peace in this thing. I'll find peace in that thing. So I want that. I'll find peace in money. I want that. I'll find peace in, you know, land. I want that. I will find my peace and ease, you know, traveling, or so I want to do that. Everybody is looking for the same thing ultimately, which is happiness, love, ease, peace, and that's it. You know, and you want to be loved also. Everyone does. We're so scared of meeting people, we don't realize as much as we want the same thing, the next person also literally just wants the same thing. You know, and the more you will meet people, the more you will understand them, the more you'll realize, oh my god, everyone honestly just wants the same thing. They want a healthy family, they want healthy dynamics between the people, the close-knit people that they know, they want healthy friendships, they want healthy love relationships, they want a good partner on their side, they want healthy children, they want goodness of life, they want luxury in life, they want comfort in life. That's what every single person wants eventually. Nobody wants to be overly efficient and overly nice and overly this and that, where you're struggling and, you know, hardly surviving, but you just want to be nice because everyone accepts you that way. And then one time you get to that breaking point where you're like, you know what, I have so much anger at this point and so much resentment at this point that I can't go any further from this. I can't continue being that way because it's not bringing anything good in my life. You know what, I need to break out from this. I'm going by. And that kind of breakout is, as I said, it brings in a lot of isolation in your life, but at the same time, I'm actually a fan of isolation. I understand many people have a different concept when it comes to isolation. Some people don't think it's healthy for you to ever isolate yourself, because when you isolate yourself, a lot of, you know, you'll have like this empty space around you where a lot of trauma may come on the surface, where a lot of things that you thought you forgot will come in your mind all of a sudden. You know, a lot of problems that ever happened that you forgot about completely, now all of a sudden you're thinking about those things again all of a sudden. And that does happen a lot. And that's why many people say don't isolate yourself, because you may get depressed and you may go too far where it will be hard for you to ever come back as a person. But I say that isolation is good for elevation, right? Isolation always elevates you, that's for sure. Because I see this as a good thing, that every crap that was like at the back, the dustbin, you know, that was at the back, it all just like throws things from the bin at the front. That's how I see it, you know, like there's a dustbin at the back, and you isolate yourself, and the dustbin is like throwing things, taking out things from it and just throwing it at you basically, you know, just throwing it at the front door. And then you're like thinking about all those things that you literally forgot about, and all the past trauma, the childhood trauma may come to the surface. I see that as a very good thing. I see that as you finally becoming self-aware, self-conscious, realizing things about yourself, realizing things about life. And I think, generally speaking, I think as a person, if you know yourself and you know about your life and yourself as a human, you have achieved a very big thing. You know, more than money, material, this, that, everything, that's a byproduct of growth that will come. But the real achievement, you knowing yourself, that is the biggest achievement, because everything else after that will come anyway. Do you know yourself as a person? And I don't mean that just like basically, yeah, I know myself, I do this and I am this and I like this color and my name is this. No. Do you really know yourself? You know, do you know why you do the things that you do? Do you know when you are being unfair? Do you know when you are overreacting, that you just overreacted way too much? Do you know that? Do you know when you react to something negatively, how much badly it affected the next person that you were shouting at? Do you realize that at that moment? If you don't, then you don't know yourself. You're not self-aware enough. Because self-aware people are hyper-aware of the things that they do on a minute-to-minute basis. You know, when you're aware of, you know what, oops, I think I got a little too angry. when you're aware about, okay, you know what, I think I became a little bit too giving in this moment. Let me relax. You know, you're aware when you know, I've given a little more in this relationship that was ever given to me. Okay, I'm being way too kind right now than I should be, but it's okay. All right. When you know those small day-to-day things about your movements, then you can see yourself aware, you know yourself as a person. You know, when you know, okay, I'm feeling this way today, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling resentful, or I'm feeling like life is unfair, or people have it better, they are better than me, or they're better than me. When you feel that way, do you know what feeling that is? Do you know that it's called resentment? Do you know that it's called anger? Like, do you know that? Or do you also know when it's jealousy? Do you know that about you? You know, because let's talk about Uber Girls. I mean, I'm writing about Uber Girls. I really hope during this trip I can complete the book. I am dying to do that, but I'm not going to lie. For the past good few weeks and months, I have struggled to focus a lot, okay? And I couldn't really like get back to it and like focus for more than 5 minutes. I have been in that situation for way too long, and I'm really thinking, I've isolated myself for just a while just because I want to focus on like the right things that I need to do to get moving, and this book is one of those things. I need this to be out there. But anyway, I hope I will do that, inshallah. Coming back to the topic, talking about Uber Girls have this thing in common. They will be very jealous. I think we spoke about this before. Uber Girls will be very jealous. Uber Girls will be very insecure. Uber Girls will have very low self-esteem, but maybe on the surface they may look like they're all done up, nice, great, all that, you know. But they may have like lots of interior problems on the inside. Do they know about that? No, it's so crazy, you know, like a girl it could be a boy, and I say a girl or a boy because men and women tend to not do it as much, because men and women, you consider that as like adults grown up category. So I'm not going to talk about men and women. I'm going to talk about girl and a boy. They're more inclined to be like that, which is you don't know yourself, you're being jealous. You acted a certain way and everybody's looking at you, how jealous you are of maybe this person or that person or whatever it is, and you act a certain way towards that person and stuff, and everybody else can sense your jealousy. Just you cannot. You can never know what's going on inside of you. Like, why are you being so evil to that person? Why are you making fun of that person? Why are you always trying to degrade that person? Why are you always trying to copy that person? You know, why are you always like having this love-hate relationship with that person? You don't know it's jealousy. You don't know that it's envy. You don't know it's a little evil. You don't know. That's a problem, and that's the kind of people we call the Uber Girls, you know, because they have a very average outlook of life. They have a very average behavior. They have a very average personality. Again, I'm not shaming anybody, but if somebody feels attacked, then this may be a sign that you need improvement, right? Because I don't want you to feel attacked if you're watching my channel, but if you do, then that's okay, because there's always space for improvement and healing and self-development and all of that, as I said. And if you need, of course, my classes, you can always book those. I mean, I have turned a lot of Uber Girls into rich bitch energies, and I think that's something I do with myself all the time also. You know, it's very easy. It's like this switch. It's a mindset. Once you get out of that, you have a bigger level of self-awareness, a bigger level of personality, a bigger level of a person. You know, you just change, and life changes after that. You know, it really does. Whether it's in terms of your financial position, your emotional health, your mental health, your emotional well-being, your mental health, your physical well-being, everything that you want to change, it changes. Your dynamics between your friends, your dynamics between you and your partner to be, or your husband to be, or your children, whatever it is, it changes things. It breaks generational curses. It gets that dirt out of your DNA, which you came with into this life, because probably your ancestors were quite insecure. Probably your ancestors, you know, were from a family where trauma was normal and trouble was normal and dysfunctionality was seen as normal too. You know, as I say, abnormal things becoming the norm for you is the worst thing that can happen to you in life. I don't think having any kind of other losses is that much of a bigger loss, more than having this in your DNA is a big, big loss, because this loss brings more loss. You know, this loss brings every kind of loss in your life. So taking this dirt out of your system and throwing it away, breaking those generational curses, and improving your own life and taking better decisions, breaking that curse, you know, it's so important. And I think maybe us as brown people, we should talk a bit more about that, you know, and we should be more aware about that also, especially for the women that, you know, watch this channel. I do have like, I mean, 2-3 men that are watching this channel, thank you very much, but mostly of course it's women. And I think for females, I don't know how to emphasize on that, but your intuition, your gut is your brain, okay? Women, we cannot function like men, okay? As much as you want to in the workspace, that's different. You know, let's not go towards feminism and stuff, because I'm not interested in that topic as much. This is more about you developing yourself as a person. And if I'm talking to a woman, I need you to understand your intuition, your gut is your biggest brain that you have. It's the biggest blessing you have from God. Please listen to it. You know, get in touch with it. If you do, you will never have any Uber girl vibes in you. If you do, you will never have any Uber girl vibes in you, Uber girl attitude in you. You will never have Uber girl persona. You will never have that average Uber girl traits, in simple words. So the conclusion is, guys, healing is important. No matter how much perfect you think your life is currently, it may not be. Or no matter how worse your life is at the moment, maybe it's not that worse. Maybe that can improve also, you know. Or if you think you're losing hope and stuff, maybe your situation again is not as bad as you think. Maybe it's just a little bit of that trauma that you have to get in touch with, you know, and tune it up a little bit. And that's fine, you know. You know what's funny? When you move forward in life, you think your life has a lot to do with you socially, you know, like you socially engaging with friends, making friends in every city, or maybe having, you know, a partner, or maybe, you know, connecting with good families, and you want to work more, you need connections, and we always keep thinking about other people. Connections, this link, that friendship, this connection, that connection. And it's so funny, real growth actually happens when you meet that person who lives inside of you. And that person is your childhood, that little person that was grown up. It's you now, but back then it was smaller. It was so innocent. It was maybe a little nervous, maybe a little dull. Maybe someone who used to sit at the back. You know, maybe someone who didn't have that much confidence. Maybe someone who thought everybody else is better, but I'm not. You know, that little girl inside of you, or that little boy inside of you, you know, that was maybe never accepted. Maybe he was the weird one in the family. Maybe he was the black sheep of the family, you know. Or maybe you as the girl, you were always a little unusual, and you never had much acceptance, or like, you know, or you were never welcomed. Or if you had like, you know, problematic parents sometimes, which that's also a very common thing within the brown community. You know, we do grow up sometimes, a lot of us, with kind of toxic parenting behaviors. It is done with the intent to give us more discipline, but it oftentimes doesn't give us that, but it gives us other problems, if that makes sense, you know. And I think things are, of course, changing with time, which is amazing to see that. But a lot of the brown community, a lot of the people in that community, we have this problem where we do have toxic parenting behaviors and patterns, where it leaves a lot of trauma for the children, you know. If girls are a certain way, they're not accepted, they're not wanted, or they're not looked at as respectable or something, or if they have certain career choices that don't fall under the typical doctor, pilot, or engineer category, then you're not accepted either, you know. And then that kind of rejection, the continuous rejection, that also leaves a mark on you. That is also a kind of trauma, right? Because you're never really, you're never blessed with a feeling of belongingness, because you never had the belongingness, because you never belonged even in your own house. How can you belong in this world? So you'll always have that empty feeling inside of you, because you were never accepted, and you will always feel rejection. But somehow you also become so tuned to that, because you know, you will learn to live with that, you know. So you become this very assertive, kind of a little stubborn version of yourself that doesn't care if somebody accepts you or not, that doesn't care if somebody's being nice with you at the job or not. You just do what you gotta do, you know, and you become a little bit of that, what's the word for that? Like very robotic and systematic, you know, because you try to disconnect with your feelings, because you don't want that negative feeling inside of you all the time, so you just disconnect with it totally. But do you ever really feel like complete or belong? no, you still don't feel that. Which is why, as a coping mechanism, you're trying to disconnect with that feeling. So you become a bit more, so it's easy for you to function on a daily basis, but it doesn't really solve the problem. So what is healing? Meeting that person that is inside of you. It still is there. It's always going to be there. Listen, till the last breath you take, that person is going to be with you. And that person is you yourself, okay? Your younger version of you. And no matter what that age, that younger person, I think that would be like a completely different video for another day. But that younger version of yourself could be at a different age. That depends person to person. Like, probably if I think about myself, I think it would be the time where I was probably like 7, 8 years old. For some people, it could be probably when they were like a teenager. Maybe because at teenage they faced the most trauma. Like, life-changing things happened, and maybe some losses happened, or maybe they lost a parent, they lost something, right, at teenage. So if you're like, let's say 30, 40, even 50, whatever, and your younger version is more like the teenager, like that's what you can think about, then that's that person you have to meet, And with you, if you're thinking about your inner child, what age comes in your mind, that's honestly different for everybody. It doesn't have to be 7 to 8 years for everyone else. It doesn't have to be a teenage for everyone. It's different ages and stages of life. And that's that age you want to meet that person from that age, because if you're thinking about that age, then that age was the age where things happened. What happened? Look back into it, Look into your childhood photos. Like, look, what were you doing at the time? Okay, why did this age come to my mind? Like, what happened at that time? Like, why do I have this age in mind and not the teenage, and not the 20s, and not the 30s? It's different for everybody. For example, if somebody's like probably 60 years old, it could be that they had the most trauma. For example, if somebody's like 60 years old, it could be that they had the most trauma when they were probably like late 20s or 30s, And that's something I can't even think about, because if I'm thinking, I'll go like way back, probably like a real child. Obviously, because I haven't lived that much. I'm not in my 40s or 50s. But of course, if you have lived more and you're getting into this self-development phase and you want to know more, with chances are with time you will anyway. I think it's a true blessing that we younger people now also are getting into these things. But I tell you something, this is reality of life. When you cross 40, it starts hitting you a lot. We've all noticed that now. Everybody starts praying more and all those things, and they don't know why and stuff. Yeah, healing is happening. That's why. The thing is, after 40, 50, 60, you're already aware about healing. Now you know. Now you know how important that is also. Now you already know what age caused you the most trauma. Now you can think and look back, and now you know the importance of that. But what's more interesting is that now us younger people, whether we are in our 20s and 30s, we are also getting into these things and wanting to heal ourselves already, so that us moving forward now, we're not going to be 60 one day and say, wow, 30 was my trauma period or my trauma age. We don't want to say that. I don't want to have my 30s in misery. No. So let me just heal myself now. So when I'm at 50, 60, I look back, my traumatic age then doesn't have to be the late 20s and 30s, and that's the goal here, right? It could be, we never know what life brings. Sometimes, things can happen we have no control on also. But not to say, we just don't want that to be the 30s, right? So let's heal ourselves now so we can get our shit together. Sorry for my language, but yeah. Actually, I shouldn't even be sorry about that. I think I'm conveying a positive, good message, and I don't need to be nice every time either. I will use certain words, and that's okay. It doesn't make me wrong or political. Again, who wants to be politically correct? Tell me one thing. If we all on this channel wanted to be politically correct, then we should be talking about other things. That brainwashes people, that puts fear in people's mind. I'm not doing that. I'm liberating you and giving you freedom for you as a person, so that you can live a healthy version of yourself. That's what I'm doing here. And this is not politically correct. No. So I'm not interested in being politically correct. So that's that. I hope this video helps you guys. Thank you for listening, and thanks to me for also being here. Just kidding. Just showing some appreciation to myself for my own work sometimes, okay? Because, yeah, I don't know what to say. The past few, 2 months, let's say, have been very, very eye-opening. Like, so much healing has taken place recently. It's like almost every day I have cried. Not almost every day, actually every day. You know, you cry yourself to sleep and stuff like that, and you have so much realizations, and you know, you have so much acceptance for yourself all of a sudden, and you know, you realize and understand so many things, and like the real growth starts happening, and you become so much more appreciative, and you start counting your blessings, and you start thanking your God for that, and you start thanking all those habits that you have built along the way for yourself, you know, because that brings you to that place, you know, which is the healing phase. The healing phase is going to be so tough. You don't have any idea. I hope you watch this video while you're in your healing phase, or I also hope you watch this video once you're done with your healing phase, because you'll probably know what I'm kind of talking about, and maybe you can also add some points to this video also. I would really want to know, you know, what phase are you going through? Are you going through the healing phase, or are you not yet? Because then you will not understand what I'm talking about, sadly. But maybe you will. I think nowadays people are very self-aware. A lot more people are aware about things than ever before. You know, thanks to the internet, Google, this, that. I think it's a blessing. You know, we are aware, we are informed and equipped with a lot of knowledge that may not be our story, that we may not need sometimes, but we know already, and that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I really want to know, like, what stage are you at the moment? Are you going through your healing? Are you about to, do you think? And that's something you can never guess. Or are you already done with it, and like now you know what we're talking about? Because I would love to know, what do you have to say about this? Like, add some points in here, keeping in mind this is a very positive and empowering space for all men and women. So I don't want any kind of negativity, this, that, you know. You'll be blocked anyway, so there's no point, because it's just like, it's just distracting, you know, when you're like talking about, you know, everybody's sitting here, 10 people talking about a monkey, you know, and all of a sudden one person is talking about a goldfish. Kind of doesn't make sense, you know. That's just a distraction. Let's get back to monkeys. Okay, just be kind, okay? We all go through things already enough, and I think the negativity of the internet is so unnecessary. It's not needed, and it's not welcomed here. I'm not nice at all when it comes to that. I'm very quick at blocking now, so yeah, get it together. All right, no Ibergirl vibes, no Ibergirl vibes. Improve yourself. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And well, lots of videos coming your way, because I am back at making content for real, and I've taken this new camera also, which I'm so excited about. And this camera makes you kind of look normal, you know, even without any lights. I hope I'm bright enough that you can see, because there's lights from the back, so I'm not really sure. But anyhow, we're back on the channel, and I want to see a lot more people. And let me now sort this video out so you guys can see this. I have to like edit quickly and upload this. And then think about like what more videos I can make. If you have any suggestions, then please do let me know. But I'm also liking how this camera just makes you look kind of normal. It's literally me with minimal makeup hair. My hair is not even done, and I have never come on social media looking so like this, you know. But it's okay, it's okay, it's life, it's fine. I don't have to look perfect 24/7 just for the sake of it. You know, I have nobody to please here, to be honest, so I'm fine. I just hope that you listen to this and these things help you. And I hope that my journey kind of resonates with you also. And any questions, let me know. Any topic suggestions, just write them down in the comments below. If you like, subscribe to the channel. You're most welcome to become a part of this family. And yeah, just stay in touch maybe on Instagram with me, MeLadyEsha. And yeah, bye. My outros are so long. Cheesy.